So hello and welcome to the Maths Guide. And this week we're looking at sets of inputs being put into a formula, and we're looking at sets of inputs into a formula and sets of outputs. And this whole thing, when you have a set of inputs and a set of outputs together with a formula, is called a function. So the function is just the formula. It's what turns an input into an output, if you want to think of it that way. So like the idea, we were looking at a gas bill and we wanted to be able to predict and be able to plan. So we needed to have an idea about all the possible results from our formula, depending on, of course, all the possible inputs to the formula. So the inputs to our gas bill in this particular question were the amount of kilowatt hours that you'd used, the kilowatt hours of gas that you'd used over a period of time. The sets of outputs was the cost of bill in euro, and we had a formula which told us that we multiply the kilowatt hours here, the number of units that we used, by 0.05 and added 30, and that would give us an output. So what I wanted to look at today was the idea of couples. So when you have this list of inputs and this list of outputs, you can put them together because this input goes to this particular output. So 10 goes together with 30.5. They are a couple. 100 goes together with 35. They are a couple. 1,000 goes together with 80. They are a couple. And 2,000 goes together with 130. They are a couple. And I'm going to call this a set of couples as well. You don't normally do this in your course, but I want to do this because it's useful. So we're looking at couples. We're looking at all the different couples that can be formed for an input together with its output. I'm going to say its output. ITS output. So an input goes together with its output. Now in some formulas, I'm going to say, imagine you had the formula. Imagine you don't know what the formula is for, but what you do is you take the input and the formula, so this is units or length, or no, let's call this time. And the formula is to take your time and multiply it by itself. It's called squaring. So imagine the time was -3. You take -3 multiplied by itself and you would get 9. You can just put this into your calculator if you don't know how to multiply minus numbers. If I put in -1, I would get -1 times -1, which is 1. If I put in 3, I would get 3 times 3, which is 9. And if I put in 7, I would get 7 times 7, which is 49. What are the list of couples here? -3 goes together with 9. -1 goes together with +1. 3 goes together with 9, and 7 goes together with 49. And I want to have a little look at this. You can see that the output can be 9 in two different situations. That's fine. But the input is never the same as some other input here. We never have -3 here and -3 here with a different number. And the reason for that should be reasonably obvious. If I take the number -3 and I put it into a formula, I will always, assuming my pen keeps working, I will always get the same output. Not too big an idea to get the hang of. The idea with a function is if you put an input in, you will always get the same output. Because a function is a set of inputs going into a formula to get a set of outputs. So today what we're going to be asking is we're going to give you sets of couples, and I'm going to ask you, does this set of couples describe a function? And if the input is not repeated, then it describes a function. Okay, if every input, if I put a 3 in and I always get a 9 out, that'll be a function. If I put the word Tunis in and I always get Tunisia out, that is a function. If I put Tunis in and I get Tunisia out one time and Africa out on a different time, then it's not a function. Okay, so all I'm asking you today is to be sure that when you put an input in, you get the same output. It's a really straight idea, but what I'm really introducing you to is the idea of sets of couples, and just asking you very simple questions so that you remember about sets of couples. Okay, so again, the worksheets are available from YouTube below. Just click on the link, and if you're on the course, then just click on your exercises for automatic correction and revision scheduling. Okay, so the best of luck with that.